Hey guys, what's up? It's Ripe again. In today's video, a crazy customer at Walmart pulled a taser on a veteran who is a black belt in martial arts. After getting taken out, this Karen vandalizes the veteran's car and thinks she can get away with it. Here is what happened. Let's dive right into the story. There have been times when people have tried to speak to me and thought I was ignoring them and being rude. Nearly 100% of the time they are apologetic and very nice when they realize that I am deaf. I say nearly 100% because there was this one time something happened that is quite a shock to anyone I tell about it. So first a little about me. I'm a military veteran. I used to man the artillery guns when I was a kid, and being an ignorant kid, I rarely wore the right ear protection when firing mortars and some of the smaller howitzers. Needless to say, my hearing got bad and I was discharged, and eventually I lost my hearing altogether. While I was in the army, I took up karate, and it's often encouraged for soldiers to learn a martial arts when we learn hand-to-hand in basic. I got pretty good at it and was even a black belt instructor when I was medically discharged. I took those skills into Civvy Street and opened up my own dojo as a means to earn. The dojo got pretty popular and I ran several training sessions a week out of the local community center. When I lost my hearing completely and was a registered disabled, I focused a lot on teaching karate to other disabled people as a means to help them cope with their disabilities. Doing something like learning martial arts does wonders in helping people gain confidence back. So this one day I needed to go to Walmart to get some bread and milk after a training session. I was still in training gear, which had the dojo logo on the back. Now our dojo logo is a sunburst with the dojo's name across the middle of it. Sure, it looked kind of similar to the Walmart logo, but it was a little more stylized and with the name. When people want to talk to me and don't know that I am deaf, what will generally happen is them trying to get my attention by calling out to me several times, which will then be followed by a tap on the shoulder and shortly realizing that I am deaf. Apologies will be made, life goes on. That was not the case in this situation though. The first I knew that someone was trying to talk to me was a very rude shove in the shoulder. I thought at first someone had bumped into me, but I turned to see a red-faced Karen glaring at me and angrily thrusting a finger in my face. I tried to sign to her that I was deaf in sign and just generally pointing to my ears and shrugging my shoulders. The universal language of "I don't know what you're saying." This seemed to infuriate her even more, and the next thing I knew, she pulls out a taser. I did not think for an instant that she would actually use it on me. What kind of psycho would? Well, apparently this kind of psycho. She went to jab at me and I took her down as gently as I could. I don't think she was expecting a random stranger to know advanced karate techniques, just as I was not expecting to have a taser randomly pulled out on me. A Walmart employee came rushing over with a security guard. Luckily, the security guard was a regular and knew that I was deaf. He must have told the Walmart employee, as he seemed to understand as well. It was explained to me that Karen thought I was a Walmart employee and was ignoring her when she was asking for where she could find the hairspray. She was so angry and upset I did not need to hear the whining in her voice. She demanded the police be called to arrest me. When they came and they had heard the stories from everyone, they approached me and asked if I wanted to press charges. I enthusiastically said yes. Given the CCTV footage and witness statements from everyone, Karen was gonna get charged. I got a bit of compensation from it, money I put into buying equipment for the dojo, and I believe Karen got a bit of community service out of it. I guess it was to teach her humility or something, and I don't think it worked all that well. Several months went by and all seemed right with the world. The whole incident with Karen had been forgotten, save for when someone wants an interesting story at a party or something, and once more I needed to go to Walmart after a training session. I had learned my lesson from before, and I always made sure that I go into Walmart with my training tees covered and hidden. Did not want to confuse another poor Karen. And well, everything seemed fine as I was walking around the store, and it was not until I had finished my shopping and went to return to my car did I realize something was up. A crowd had built up near where I was parked. They were all standing around with their phones out and recording what was going on. I could not see until I moved around the sparse crowd and saw Karen at my car. She was shouting and ranting and swinging crazily with a bat. Again, she was talking too fast that I couldn't catch a single word she was trying to say, but she was swinging that bat like a woman possessed. She had sent the wing mirrors flying, the doors and bonnet had dents in it, and most of the windows were cracked. When she saw me, that was it. A whole new level of rage opened up from this woman. I was actually worried that she was gonna hurt me. She jabbed the point of the bat at me as she approached, and I could just about make out that she was pretty much blaming me for ruining her life. I could only make out a few words she was saying. She did not seem to get the message from our last encounter, and she tried to hit me in the leg with the bat. It was not a full-on swing, she held it at half its length, and I guess she just wanted to put a shock through me. However, I blocked it and countered instinctively. Luckily, I had not lost my mind as she did and did not counter properly, landing a punch that would have sent sprawling. I hit her open-palmed and gave her a little slap across the face. It was enough of a slap to leave a neat red mark. Karen backed away fast and she looked at me with such shock that I don't think she was expecting me to fight back. Needless to say, she was instantly on her phone calling for the police yet again. I waited patiently whilst she paced the parking lot, continuing to shout her head off. Sometimes being deaf is a blessing. When all the police came, I gave them my statement and they saw all the video evidence on everyone's phone. Karen stood no chance. How she thought she could get away with any of it is beyond me, but they carted the woman away in handcuffs. The officer I'd been speaking to asked me if I wanted to press charges, and I said, damn right I want to press charges. The amazing thing is, when Karen was eventually tried at court, she was forced to replace my car. I opted to take a cash buyout instead, and with it I got a decent SUV with the dojo's logo plastered all over it, and we use it when we head out to tournaments. So thanks Karen for the free marketing. And the next one is titled, Stupid Neighbor Stole My Packages. So this happened yesterday. Luckily for me, my neighbor is a moron and some internet sleuthing was enough for me to retrieve my $300 headphones. Background: the street numberings on my block are a bit wonky and there are multiple houses on the same block that share a number but have a different direction. For example, 104 SW versus 104 SE. As a result, mistakes happen and we sometimes get each other's mail or packages. This used to be just a minor annoyance since the people who lived at our corresponding address were a nice older couple and we would just walk each other's mail and packages over. Unfortunately, they moved out a few months ago and a shiesty ass family moved in. Story: I had been saving up for some nice headphones so that I can enjoy my turntable setup while my wife and baby are asleep. And then I finally pulled the trigger when there was a decent sale on Amazon, a Sennheiser HD 600 for the curious, and after waiting for a few days I got the notification that they had been delivered. I was stoked to try them out. Eagerly I checked outside my door, but they were not there. I looked at my doorbell camera logs and did not see a delivery. I figured they might have gotten sent to my neighbor's house instead, but it seemed a bit late to bother them by the time I got done working that day. I decided I would go knock on their door the next day, however I had a sinking feeling that something was not right. It was bothering me, so I opened up Facebook Marketplace and searched for the headphones. Sure enough, there was a new listing for a brand new set at half price and it looked to be on my side of town. I changed my Facebook name and sent a message. We arranged to buy them and they sent me the address. It was not my neighbor's address, but it was nearby. Intrigued, I decided to still go through with the meetup. I said I would arrive a bit later than it would actually take me and watch the neighbor's driveway down the street. A minute or two passed and I saw their car pull out and turn off in the same direction of the address I was given. Maybe just a coincidence, I thought. So then I pull up to the house and see a car in the driveway that looks like the one I saw leave my neighbor's house. Could not tell for sure because they live on the other end of the block and it was dark. I get out and take a photo of their license plate. We make the trade and I start asking her some questions. I had not yet met these neighbors nor had any interaction with them before. She is a middle-aged woman with poorly dyed blonde hair and crappy tattoos, kind of putting out some crackhead vibes. I then asked where she got the headphones and she said Goodwill. I smelled BS. I tell her my story about how I was supposed to get a package of these exact headphones today and she plays dumb. I did not really think I had quite enough to accuse her right there, at her sister's house apparently, so I give her the cash, go back home and wait. Sure enough, she pulls into her driveway about 10 minutes later. I am pissed, so I literally sprint down the sidewalk to confront her. She pretends to not see me and plays on her phone. I knock on her window and tell her to give me my money or I am calling the police. She knows I caught her red-handed, so she hands me my money back. Then she starts making excuses. I didn't know it was yours, my daughter opened it, blah blah blah. I explain the situation with our addresses and how we get mail and packages mixed up often. And she seems unsettled by this. Still, she just keeps rattling off excuses. No apology, just excuses, keeps trying to blame her daughter. What a great role model for her kids. I tell her that stealing and opening someone else's mail is a federal offense and go back home. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I'm curious, how would you have reacted if your neighbor stole your packages? In Europe, where I am from, this is especially common during the Christmas time, I guess, where a lot of thieves see an opportunity to steal packages and sometimes even people working at the mail services. I find this is very unfortunate because actually I have to send a package from Thailand back to Europe around this time, but my family recommended me to better do it after New Year's because during Christmas time there are a lot of people opening packages and maybe stealing stuff. Very unfortunate if you ask me. The next one is titled Karen in New York. So I have a piece of property in Queens, New York, and the hot water heater was leaking, had to change it, etc. Luckily, plumbing is my thing, so I went there with 2 guys to get it done. While they are working inside, I go outside to make some calls. And this kid I know, mind you he's 20, just seems like a kid to me, is across the street smoking a joint on his porch. Mind you, this is a good kid, a bit shy, but just nice, and would shovel everyone's driveway and walkway during the winter for 20 bucks. That is when a Karen with her kids stomps in front of his house and starts yelling at him. Karen, what are you doing up there? That's disgusting and you should be ashamed of yourself. 20-year-old, mind your business and keep moving, lady. He said this politely enough and I'm paraphrasing. Karen, my kids have to play out here and you're trying to turn them into drug addicts. I am calling the cops. She pulls out her phone to call the cops and I decide at this point to go across the street and intervene before the cops get involved. Weed is pretty much legal here. It would have been at most a $50 fine. Me? Hey, what the F do you think you're doing to this nice lady? Are you smoking weed and not sharing, you selfish prick? 20-year-old staring. Me? Sorry. Here, take one of mine. Reaches into pocket and pulls out half a joint I was saving for later. Effin' kids these days have no respect. Karen to me, are you effin' kidding me? What the hell is wrong with you? At this point, another neighbor who was watching this unfold, having a bit of a chuckle, steps in. Other neighbor, hey Spartan, what the hell is all the yelling about? Me, the kid was token and this young lady wanted to pull and he was being a selfish prick. Other neighbor, what the hell? That's effed up. I'm telling your mom when she gets home. Sorry lady, let me go inside and get my bong for you. We don't tolerate that kind of behavior in this neighborhood. Karen, you think this is funny? You guys are disgusting. I'm calling the police. At this point she walks away, back to the homeland of Karens, never to be seen again, I hope, and the 20-year-old starts busting apart at the seams in laughter. Figured you guys would have a good chuckle at this, and since she tried to use her kids as an excuse to push other people around, I think it fits the subreddit. And the next one is titled The Christmas Disaster. I throw a pretty big Christmas party every year, going on a decade now. A few years ago at one I threw, my friend Tara met my former coworker Tony and they hit it off. They dated for a while and 2 years later, once again at my Christmas party, she showed up with a ring on her finger and they announced for the first time that they were engaged. I was super happy for them. They got married this spring and we did not get invited. When I was sending around my party invitations this year, I did not see any reason to invite them back if they did not think that I was not worthy of making their guest list. I have known them both for years, basically introduced them to each other, and they literally announced their engagement at my home. It got back to me today that they are very upset with us for not inviting them this year, that my party is something they consider special and that they think I'm being petty. A couple friends mentioned it was a smaller wedding and they feel like I'm just punishing them. It wasn't though. There were probably 200 people there and I knew at least 50 of them and I was a little surprised at some of the names that made the cut over us. I did not make a stink about it or anything, but I don't see why I should welcome them into my home again after being snubbed like that. My partner thinks I should just let it go and invite them back, but I don't see a reason why I should. Am I the a-hole? And yeah, Ripe Stars, let us know in the comments whether you think OP is the a-hole here or not. Let us know. Comment number 1, not the a-hole. If they cannot even invite the person who introduced them to their wedding, then I don't think they should expect an invitation to your Christmas party. If you are not close enough to make it to the wedding, invite list, why would they be close enough to you to make it to your Christmas party? Comment number 2, not the a-hole. Normally, I would say they can invite or not invite whoever they want to their wedding, but by that same logic, you can invite whoever you want to your party. You are upset they didn't invite you, and they are upset that you didn't invite them. The difference is that they are using your Christmas party as a celebration of their relationship. They feel entitled to your Christmas party because it is important to their relationship, but they don't view you as important. They will keep using your party to announce life events because they feel entitled to your party as a celebration of them. 200 people is not a small wedding, but if they think it is, you have 2 new friends you've invited and you just couldn't fit them in too. So I'm sorry, it's just a small party, you understand, right? And the next one is titled, You Want Coffee? I Will Give You Coffee. Background, I work in a coffee shop inside a family-owned grocery store. I usually work the evening and night shift because I also attend school in the morning, meaning I have to close a lot rather than work midday shifts. I have a lot of cleaning and chores to do before I can leave at the end of the day when we close at 9, and when I say we close at 9, I mean I am walking out the door and punched out at 9. I have worked there for about a year and a half and I've never really had a problem with customers, and I generally like helping people, always giving great service to people who deserve it. But sometimes, once in a blue moon, I will get someone coming in right before closing who really gets under my skin. The following is the situation. I am rushing to close on time because my inconsiderate coworker didn't do anything she was supposed to do. It is around 8:50 and I am mopping the floor, relieved to finally be finished in a matter of minutes. I was just about to lock my door when out of the darkness on the other side, this woman, who will henceforth be known as Witch, reached for the door handle and yanked it open as if she was suffering from withdrawal from coffee. She practically knocked me over with her books, which could only be fake, and her mini-me of a daughter in tow. Both were dressed as if they were about to go clubbing. I was fuming at their lack of apologizes and behavior, never was treated so poorly, and I've been treated terribly, but that's another time. They stood at the counter, obviously wanting a drink. I put on my best customer service smile and forced myself to wait on them. Since it is a family-owned business, quality service was mandatory and I'm expected to smile and bend over backwards while juggling 3 whales on a unicycle atop Big Ben and swallow words if the customer asked me to. I start out asking, what can I, when I was cut off. I need 2 large mocha shakes now. I was less than pleased. I had everything cleaned and she orders the most complicated drinks, requiring I dirty almost everything. Fortunately, we are about to close and I couldn't do it, right? I'm sorry ma'am, but everything is in the dishwasher and soapy. I have a huge sincere smile on my face that I get to tell this witch she's not getting her damn shakes. We close at 9 and it is 8:55. She completely loses her mind, yelling, "What do you mean? Are you saying that I cannot get 2 drinks? You close at 9. It is not 9. My smile falters as I see my manager charging over. "Can I help you, ma'am?" my manager asks her. The witch whines, "Yeah, she," pointing at me, "said that it is too late for drinks, but it's not 9 yet." Suddenly the mini witch pipes up and says, "I want a shake now." My manager turns to me and tells me to go make the drinks. I cannot really argue with him, so I just frown and say, "Fine." He leaves. My smile has almost completely disappeared. You can tell I am annoyed. I ring them up and the total comes to $7.85, nothing special. She digs out her wallet from her purse and starts counting out quarters, dimes and pennies. Really? After she finished, the witch was short a good $1.34. Then that is when she did the unimaginable. She reached inside my tip jar and took $1 as Mini Witch handed her 35 cents. I was so appalled that I just stared at her, mouth open, when she tried to hand me the money. I protested, "Ma'am, that $1 is mine. You cannot have it." She looked shocked. I told her no. "Yes, I can." "No, you cannot. That is my tip jar, my property, my money. You just basically stole my $1. She let out a frustrated, As she shoved my dollar back in the jar and asked Mini-Witch for $1, to which she pulled out a $5 bill. I had an angry frown on my face as I cashed them out. I was fuming. That is when I knew I had to get revenge. The revenge was, I grabbed the blender out of the dishwasher and kinda washed off the soap. I poured the ice in and added significantly less chocolate, vanilla and cream, so it would be too thick to suck up through a straw. They would have to use a spoon. Then I used coffee instead of espresso, same flavor, just not good quality. I blended for half the time, leaving huge ice chunks in the bottom, which is unpleasant to get around and is useless. When I poured it into their cups, I forgot to add the chocolate around the outside. This doesn't change flavor, it is just not as cosmetically pleasing. And finally, I ran out of whipped cream, so I used flat lids instead of the nice dome lids that hold the whipped cream. I felt satisfied in my work and I decided to take an extra minute to clean up my mess, stealing another precious minute from them. I gave them my biggest smile as I handed them the drinks. I ran to the back and punched out, meaning I no longer work or do anything or else I get into trouble. I walked out as Witch approached me. "You need to remake these." I played dumb. "What do you mean?" "These are awful. It is too thick and doesn't have the chocolate or whipped cream." I smile and politely tell her, "I'm sorry, but it is currently 9:02, we are closed and I punched out. I cannot help you." She stares me down, but I keep my smile firm. Witch gives up and sits down with Mini-Witch, who tries to eat her shake with a spoon. I walk over very slowly and lean down to their level and calmly tell them, "Ever hear that you shouldn't mess with or be rude to people who handle your food and drinks?" And give her a smile as her face gets pale as if she saw a ghost. "Have a nice night," I yell as I walk out the door. I laughed all the way home. And guys, with this we have reached the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, then please feel free to check out my Patreon over at patreon.com/ripeyoutube or join my YouTube membership program by clicking the join button to get access to even more exclusive videos. Thank you so much for your support and I will see you again tomorrow.